In my hand here is the HBAVLink HDMI Splitter. This supports 4K, HDMI 2, and the latest HDCP standard, which is 2.3. I'm going to be hooking this up to two different TV sets. One of them is 4K, the other is 1080p, and I'm going to be hooking two different sources to it, 4K sources to it, Roku Ultra and Ultra HD Blu-ray player. That's coming up on ThriftyAV. Quick disclaimer, this HDMI splitter is a review sample that HBAVLink provided to ThriftyAV for the purpose of this video. I consider review samples to be on loan, so if the folks at HBAVLink want this back, they can have it back. I am not being paid for this review, and all opinions expressed in this video are my own. 4 years ago, I tested out several HDMI splitters with various sources and various capture devices to see if any of the splitter capture device combinations could bypass HDCP copy protection. You might wonder, why would you want to bypass copy protection other than for piracy? And there's a very good reason. It is fair use. I should be able to grab clips for educational purposes. This splitter has something that no other splitter I've tried out has. It has dip switches on the back, and I'm going to be interested in trying those out while I feed HDCP sources through this thing. But this is out of the box. Let's back up and check out the short unboxing. This unboxing should be pretty quick here. We have the splitter, and these things have gotten smaller. And we have a USB power. Splitter says HBAVLink HDMI splitter, 1 and 2 out, 4K, HDMI 2. Now this splitter has something that you don't see on most of them, and that's some dip switches on the back here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on the back, position 0, automatic EDID, 1000, copy EDID from HDMI out 1, 0100, copy EDID from HDMI out 2, switch up is 0, switch down is 1, 3 and 4 are reserved, they don't change. The input is on the back here near the dip switches, powers through USB-C, and here's the cable, and here's the power plug, and the two outputs are in the front. Key features and specs from the user manual are on the screen right now, so pause the video if you want to take a look. Unlike older analog interfaces between the video source and the display, HDMI is bidirectional, and it communicates in both directions with what's called a handshake. That handshake determines what bandwidth, what data bandwidth is supported, what video resolution is supported, what audio, how the audio should be encoded, Dolby or DTS or whatever. And is the display really a display, or is it a video capture device? And that's where HDCP comes in. An HDMI source is expecting to communicate with one television. And this is kind of breaking that rule because it splits it to two outputs. So you have to decide which of those devices is going to do the handshake. EDID stands for Extended Display Identification Data. And when all these dip switches are up, it automatically chooses between HDMI out 1 and HDMI out 2. When I change this first dip switch to 1, from 0 to 1, it will do the handshake with output 1. If I switch the second one down, it'll do the handshake with output 2. I have the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray of Conan the Barbarian playing, and I'm using the HBAVLink splitter to run it into a 4K TV and a 1080p TV. Right now I have all the dip switches set to 0, so it is automatically picking the handshake. So I'm going to see what resolution I'm at over here. It says 4K 60 PCM audio, and I'm going to go ahead and see what resolution I am over here, and it says 1080p 60 on the Hitachi. So now I'm going to switch the dip switch so that, okay, and it's going to take a second to do the handshake. It's now going to default to the handshake here. So let's see what our resolution is. Our resolution is 4K 60 on this TV, and the resolution is still 1080p 60 over here. So now I'm going to make it do the handshake with the Hitachi TV, and it should still be 1080p, hopefully. Yes, the Hitachi is still 1080p. Let's see what happens to the 4K TV. It isn't 4K anymore. It's 1080p now when I have it set to do the EDID with the Hitachi TV set. For my next test, I set all the dip switches back to 0 for automatic. My video camera has HDMI output. Right now it's set to 1080p, and it's being fed into the Hitachi TV set. And as you see, you get this little feedback loop going on. Now I'm going to try to change it to 4K, and it won't let me do it while it's recording, so I'm going to pause the recording. When I switch the signal on the camera to 4K, it says unsupported mode. All right, so I'm going to unplug it from the Hitachi, plug it into the splitter, and then plug the splitter into the Hitachi. And I got my signal back. Now, this splitter is doing more than just splitting. It's taking an unsupported format and outputting a supported format. So I think the splitter is doing its own little handshake to make sure that the video works. And you'll see that it is working on both monitors. This one's going to be in 4K. Let's take a look. 4K. And this one over here is going to be in 1080p. I just changed to a different splitter. This is pretty much a generic splitter. It is capable of 4K, but it is clearly not capable of changing resolutions for each of the monitors. It's still working in 4K on this TV, but it's trying to feed 4K into the Hitachi, which the Hitachi does not support. So the HBAV splitter has a pretty special feature in being able to support different resolution TVs out of each of its outputs. The first copy protected source I want to try is this LG Ultra HD Blu-ray player with the 4K version of Conan the Barbarian. This is a clear click standalone 4K capture device. I have it hooked up to my camera right now, and it is recording right now in 4K. In fact, I'm going to switch over to what is being captured on this device right now. So this is what's being captured off my camera. Now my camera does not have HDCP copy protection, so I'm going to switch the inputs. Through one side of the splitter, I am getting my movie. Through the other side of the splitter, I'm getting a blank screen. Now it's set to automatic. I'm going to change the dip switch to where it does the handshake off of my 4K TV and see if I get anything here. And I'm still getting nothing here. So I'm going to switch the dip switch where it does the handshake through output 2, and I'm still getting nothing on my recording here when I am clearly getting signal on my TV set. And that signal on the TV set is 1080p with the dip switch at its current position. When I change the dip switch over, I'm getting a 4K signal on the TV set, and I'm still getting nothing on my ClearClick 4K capture device. On the HBAVLink, I changed the dip switch so the EDID is handshaking with the ClearClick, and I changed the ClearClick to record at 1080p, and now I am able to record. However, this is not a 4K recording. This is a 1080p capture. So I was able to capture at 1080p with the splitter, which is something I haven't been able to do before very easily, but I was not able to capture at 4K using the splitter. Okay, I switched my input source to a Roku Ultra. I'm having some remote issues trying to use a Roku Ultra with a Roku TV because it wants to control both devices. But I'm getting a signal on the TV. I'm not getting any kind of signal on my capture device. I've tried it with all the dip switch settings. I've tried it set to record at 4K, set to record at 1080p. I'm getting absolutely nothing. The next HDMI capture device I want to try out is this Syllable 4K capture device. This one does require a PC. The software I'm using on the computer is just the Windows camera app, but you can use OBS Studios or any number of titles. Right now I'm feeding my video camera into the capture device and into my big TV here. The TV set, let's see what resolution it says. It says 4K, and I'm able to capture, I assume 4K over here. I'll take a look at it in a second and make sure it's in 4K. But again, my camera has no copy protection, so it's not giving that software any trouble. All right, I've switched sources. I got my Blu-rays playing just fine on the TV set, but on the Windows camera app, I get the error message, not support. Let's mess with the dip switches a little bit. I'm going to change dip switch 1. TV still working, still not supported on the capture device. Let's go to the next dip switch. TV still working, no support on the capture device. I'm going to try changing the capture device to record 1080p instead of 4K. All right, all the dip switches are set to automatic. 4K should be feeding into the TV set. Yes, it's 4K. I switched over to 1080p for my capture on my computer here, and it's capturing 1080p. So I'm basically getting the same results here that I was getting earlier. 4K does not capture, 1080p does capture when going through the HBAVLink. Same results with the Roku. 4K did not capture, 1080p did capture using the Syllable capture device. So in conclusion, the HBAVLink HDMI 2 splitter has one really cool feature that you won't find on most of these devices. It's called automatic resolution adjustment output. That lets you output 4K into one monitor while you're feeding 1080p into another one. Most splitters don't have that feature. I was unsuccessful using this device to capture 4K signals into either of the capture devices I tried. However, I was able to use the down converted 1080p from the adjustment output and capture that. And 1080p is generally good enough for my fair use needs on capture. If you enjoyed this video, let the algorithm know about it. And remember, stay thrifty, everyone.